So rarely does Vikings ever deliver payoff in a timely manner. If you want to find out what happens to Floki, stick it for 3 seasons. Ragnar's death? We could make that 10 episodes. What happened to Rolor? Stick around, my dude, it's gonna be a while. But this time they redeemed it episode 1. I wanted Bjorn to have a moment. The man was dragged through the dirt. He lost his mother, his crown, he got betrayed by his family again. His love life fell apart again. And just when you thought he hit rock bottom, he lost a major battle to an invading foreign army and got a mortal wound. And from that position, in one episode, they played Iva like a fiddle, they brought him back, they gave him a 4-course meal with the dessert on special, and a salute out the door. But let's start at the beginning. So as we open up into the episode, straight away I feel like there's something not quite right, and it takes me a bit to realize they've changed the intro. We can still see a lot of the iconic imagery that we're so used to in this intro, but they've added in new clips and features based off the events that happened in the previous half season, not to mention they've kind of changed the music to this tone that's more sinister and maybe fits a bit better with the season we have so far. I particularly like this kind of transition they gave us from the firewall we saw in the ocean that surrounded Bjorn when he was captured by Olaf, mixed into the major battle that we had back in England. We also get to see a bunch of epic new visuals they've kind of added into the intro, from Iva getting those arrows rained down on him, Uber beating the Danish warrior, screaming in battle, Vixit screaming as well of course, and even the crown for Norway that was a big part of the first half of the season. So overall, I thought the update to the intro was really good, and it gave us a bit more kind of gravity around this half season, and how these are going to be the final chapters to this epic saga, and makes it a little bit more special and unique. So the Rus have succeeded in the invasion of Norway, they've claimed their first victory, made their foothold, and dealt a really devastating blow to Bjorn's forces. And you know, all that Oleg wants to do is enjoy this victory, have some fun, but everyone around him just wants to be a big buzzkill. Iva's prattling on about how the battle's not over, Harald won't surrender, he's being a big mopey man, and even when he tries to burn him alive, he just sits there in silent prayer the whole time, like a real party pooper. Now this scene where we get Olaf's death actually impacted me a lot more than I thought it would. We see that watching him burn alive while seemingly perfectly at peace deeply disturbs and confronts the characters. Even if it seemed that Oleg had all the power, all the control, in this moment Olaf takes back a part of his autonomy, and he does it with sheer willpower. By detaching himself from his fate and the pain, he kind of maintains control over his final moments despite what Oleg or Iva want him to feel and do. And this scene is inspired from our own history. John F. Kennedy once commented on a really famous photo of a Buddhist monk who burned himself alive in a busy intersection to protest the South Vietnamese government at the time, saying no news picture in history has generated so much emotion around the world as that one. So clearly Vikings wanted to capture part of their image's power here in Olaf's death, making his departure a standout moment of the episode, which is saying a lot considering all the powerful events we get this episode. Another part of the Rus storyline that was built on a lot was that relationship between Iva and Igor. Now this is a quite high level deduction, so you have to follow real closely. If you see this subtle body language between Iva and Igor, in between the scene of them discussing overthrowing Oleg and getting their rightful position as not puppet rulers, you can see Iva giving Oleg the squinty eyes whenever he does religious stuff or puts down the Norse gods. So I'm just going to take a wild guess here. It's pretty crazy. I know you're going to have to really follow me on this one. I think that Iva might have it out for Oleg. Hot take. But seriously, it does seem like we're getting a lot of different scenes where we have Oleg quite obviously in the background picking up on this close relationship that's forming between Iva and Igor. He sees Igor turn to Iva for assurance and approval before burning Olaf alive. They're always spending time together, they ride the same carriage together, talking, whispering, looking real sus. So hopefully when Iva does pull the trigger on trying to portray Oleg, we get some kind of counter plan from him that he's prepared in advance because he's kind of picked up on what's happening here. So we got about 4 minutes of Iceland this episode, which is not a lot, but it's something. And the best kind of part was them just straight up copying the relationship that Ragnar had with Athelstan, but now it's Uber with a new Athelstan. For a while now, they've been expanding on the curious and inquisitive element of Ragnar in Uber, and these kind of conversations about theology and these conflicting ideas is a big part of that. And again, the actor that plays Flatnose proves he's the best when it comes to pulling off a very sinister look. Like, damn, this guy cannot get any more creepier. So as the retreating forces from Bjorn's army return back to Kattegat, we get this really gloomy and somber vibe. The music's playing like it's the end of all days, and we can almost feel the grief in the air. Vikings did so well to put us in this moment, to translate how these people felt seeing Bjorn, this heroic, legendary figure that they've known for so long, in such a devastated state. It can be really hard for a show to translate how severe or important an injury really is in a show. Sometimes shows will play up huge injuries that could be mortal to someone's life and then just kind of brush it off as soon as we go back to them in the next scene. Harald. But the way they did injured Bjorn in these scenes was so effective, and a lot of this is probably attributed to the actor just pulling it off so well. But I especially love that scene that he had with Eric when he was trying to shake him out of his depression. He has that Viking spirit and that passion buried down in his heart and his soul, but his body won't let him express it. His throat suppresses and squeezes out everything he wants to say, and if he tries to push through past the pain, he just ends up coughing up blood. But Bjorn can't just let this mortal injury get in the way of his fast-growing career in inspirational speaking. So now we come to the final sequence, the battle of this episode. Viking sets up this entire battle as a 100% loss, no way to win, Bjorn's dying either way, but maybe he'll get to go out like a Viking. And they carry that tone through all of the really awesome scenes right up to the end. Even as we have these beautiful intimate moments between him and Gunhild, strapping on the armor, pulling out the sword, the music's still in the background, lulling us into this expectation. Even when he comes out on the horse, when he survives the arrow shots, when he lifts his sword, all of those moments we think, oh, this is amazing, this is cool, I love what they're doing here, but we don't think it will change the battle. Because Vikings has done to us what they've done to Iva and Oleg. They've made us drop our guard, believing that Kattegat is at the mercy of the Rus. And there's no need for a plan when you think you've already won. Even after Bjorn has his sword in the sky, his men are behind him, everyone has their mouths open in shock and awe, it still seems like the battle is not going to go their way. And then we see his sword waver and fall a bit, and the gaffs come from his mouth, and we think it's all going to fall apart in our eyes yet again. But no, the horn blows, and the whole time they tricked us all. They had a plan. They were prepared. They had the numbers, and they outplayed the Rus. Iva might be smarter with a bigger army, but when he doesn't know he's playing the game, he can't move his pieces. And in the end, Bjorn takes the dub. I could not have asked for a better redemption for Bjorn, a better way for him to go out. I really loved how they had Vic Sid kind of narrate over the top of Bjorn's last moments with those same lines that Ragnar said as he was about to fall into the snake pit. It paints this image of Bjorn joining Ragnar in the halls of Valhalla, ale in hand as he tells him the tales of the revenge, the great army, and all that came after Ragnar's demise. It doesn't become a sad moment, it becomes a great moment. And that's the kind of Viking death, the kind of legacy that we want from this series. All in all, a truly phenomenal episode, so much I loved. So now, let's see what's in store for episode 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below, because that'd be cool. Thanks, guys.